Welcome back, everyone, to the Six Pennies podcast. It's Thursday. It's Pocket Change Thursday. And the episode today, we are going to focus on music, the state of music, what we love about it growing up, especially from Stephanie's question. She asked about Backstreet Boys and what we thought about Backstreet Boys. And then moving from Stephanie's question, we're going to go to Benny Huang's comment about Drake. And so I wanted to dive into the state of hip-hop today and where it is today compared to where it used to be in the past. How are you, Timmy and Mock?
Hey, wait, it's Pocket Change Thursday. How come Mock isn't in charge? Albie, you taking over?
I am not taking over. I'm just subbing in for this week only.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so the first topic via Stephanie is regarding the Backstreet Boys. I know the three of us were pretty big fans of the Backstreet Boys, probably not as big as Stephanie. But
nobody is as big a fan as Stephanie, though.
Yeah, if you guys could name like one major thing or one major attribute of why you are a BSB fan, what would it be? I'll start with you, Timmy.
I think it would probably be weddings, and just when the music comes on and you hear "I Want It That Way," everybody is so pumped. Everybody is into it and singing, and maybe by everybody, it's just like you guys and some of our friends, But still, it feels amazing, and it just brings you back, and that's probably why they're at the top of most lists.
Yeah, it's funny.
That's a good call.
It's funny in weddings because when we play Backstreet Boys, it's more guys than girls actually singing along.
Oh, by
dancing.
Far.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's Backstreet Boys, not Backstreet Girls, man.
Yeah, true. So Mock asked me to kind of be like the DJ for his wedding way back when. And, you know, we had all these dance songs and hip-hop songs, but I definitely ended the night with I Want It That Way, and it hit hard.
Yeah, I personally judge most weddings I go to by the dance floor, and specifically how many or how few Backstreet Boys songs are played. So by that standard, you are one of the greatest DJs of all time.
I feel like I'm the best DJ. Wedding DJ
That's
ever
good.
so
That's
far.
the mentality you have to be the best.
Yeah, true. So out of the 5 members, I mean, there were times where they only had 4 members, but I think they're currently back to 5. Who is your favorite member, Mock?
Ooh, well, it's easy for me. It's AJ by far. AJ he's the one with the style. He's the one. Very underrated voice, I feel like, as well.
Bad boy.
But I like him, and I'm okay with any answer here other than Nick. I think he's the most overrated Backstreet Boy.
To really, what's funny is my favorite is actually Nick.
So is mine.
Yeah.
Me too.
Wait, yours is Nick?
Why?
Okay, I don't like Nick anymore. Give me Brian Luttrell then.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Brian's legit.
Yeah, Brian is good. He has a lot of like emotions behind all of his like music videos, like the scenes that he's in. He's always like, his eyes are always closed. He's always like pumping his fist or something like that. So you know he's feeling the music, and so
you can't teach hard, man.
Yeah, my pick would be Brian. So Timmy, why do you like Nick so much?
Well, I have to be honest with you guys. I'm not like I like the Backstreet Boys songs, and like when they come on the dance floor at weddings, it's great. But I was never like a huge fan like you guys. It sounds like are. I actually didn't know like all of their names until I just Googled all their names. I forgot half of them. Okay. But
Stephanie is mad.
You know, Stephanie and I are close. Our families have hung out since we were born.
Wait, you guys are cousins, right?
No, we're not cousins. Stop saying that. You always.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure we're not related.
You check your parents.
But as long as I've known, it's always been about Nick Carter, and that's always been Stephanie's boy. So
maybe she brainwashed you. Yeah.
Yeah, that literally it's brainwashing. That's like that's the first name that came to mind.
Well, let me ask you guys this: as Backstreet Boys, maybe not fanatics, but at least fans of the group. What are your feelings towards other boy bands, like NSYNC specifically? Do you hate them? Do you tolerate them? Do you like them as well?
That's a great question.
I love other boy bands.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for NSYNC specifically, I actually don't mind them. I don't understand the division between fans who are Backstreet Boys and fans who are
Yeah, me
NSYNC.
neither.
Like,
Yeah.
why can't you like both? Because one, Justin Timberlake is a badass, and
Yeah.
then two, their songs are catchy as well. I mean, they're not to me they're not as musically talented as the Backstreet Boys because with BSB you have like all five members singing and having solos and stuff,
Yeah.
whereas with NSYNC it's just JC and Justin, but they both make good music. They both were very successful. I think it was just like the media trying to create this rivalry between the two, and so you had to pick, and I just didn't understand why.
I don't think it should be mutually exclusive. I agree. Like, there's definitely great songs from NSYNC and 98 Degrees. I mean, they have some awesome hits. Obviously, they didn't have the cultural relevance or long-standing reputation as these other guys, or definitely Backstreet Boys. But they all had great. They were all pretty great at their own in their own ways. But I mean, go ahead, Mark.
No, Timmy, I like that answer. I just think you have to. It's the onus is on you now to educate your cousin Stephanie on why she can actually be a fan of both. She hates NSYNC, and it does make sense to me because she liked One Direction with Backstreet Boys, which is just a travesty in and of itself.
One Direction?
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
Oh, that's bad.
It's bad, yeah.
Who?
Honestly, I mean, when I think of like those '90s bands consisting of guys who sing really well, I don't. The first one that I think of that I love is not technically, I guess, one of the typical boy bands, but it's Boys to Men.
True.
Their vocals are just unmatched. Like, they have so many hits. We use this Pandora station that's Allure, and it has so many great Boys to Men songs. My wife and I went to see Boys to Men in Las Vegas 2 years ago.
Yeah, nice.
Oh my God, they're so good. Still, they're missing one guy, and they're still incredible. And they're the greatest.
Good call.
Wait, is that when you got down on one unbended knee?
No, it's I should have.
But didn't you also see BSB like at the American Music Awards or something like that? Or am I making that up?
It's possible. I've been to the American Music Awards a couple times for work, and they might have been like a guest who's on there, but they weren't that memorable, unfortunately.
Yeah, that Hollywood life.
True. Yeah, so that's funny you mentioned that you saw Boys to Men in Vegas. The Backstreet Boys are actually gonna be playing Vegas, and I think they have a show for the next 6 months playing. I don't know which hotel, but does that, to me, like when you start playing Vegas, I feel like your career is almost over. Do you guys think the Backstreet Boys are done? It's almost kind of like a nostalgic thing at this point if you're playing Vegas.
Weren't the Backstreet Boys like kind of done and then they came back? Like they haven't
never gone, man. Never gone.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Name of the album.
I think so. I think Mock knows the history of the Backstreet Boys better than both of us. But to be honest, I don't know any of the music the Backstreet Boys have come out with, and I know they have. I just don't know any of it post. Like, I don't even know that Never Gone album, and that was like, what, 03 or something? So from 03
not that far back, but yeah.
Yeah, so from that point to now, I have no idea what kind of music they're coming out with.
Yeah, their newer albums, there's a couple good songs here and there, but I don't really count them as Backstreet Boys before during that hiatus when Kevin was out. So when they have all five back together now, and they're doing Vegas, there's like a Backstreet Boys cruise, which I'm surprised Stephanie hasn't gone on yet. But yeah, it's gonna be a sad day if they ever kind of hang it up.
So what's your favorite song of all time from the Backstreet Boys, Mock?
Well, for me, my Backstreet Boys fandom started way back in maybe late 90s. I can't remember the specific time, but it was during the time of the mini disc player, if you guys remember.
So the Millennium album?
It was right after that. It was actually Black and Blue. So for the longest time, Black and Blue was the only music that I listened to for like at least a year and a half. So I've listened to that album thousands of times.
Thousands?
Wow, it's like It's like as much as I've watched Friends.
Yeah, so I don't really watch movies or anything that much, but when it comes to songs, I'll re-listen all day and night. So my favorite song is from that album. It's "I Promise You,"
Nice.
and it's not as well known, but it ended up being me and Ophelia's wedding song.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm getting, word from our producer to move along to the next subject. But I will say before we do move along, my favorite song is More Than That, and that was also from the same album. So
also really good, yeah. Man, so good.
Yeah. Moving along to the next subject, we're gonna talk about Drake and what he is, in the rap industry today. He just dropped an album a couple weeks ago. What the state of rap music is now versus back in the day. Timmy, do you have any comments about hip hop music?
No, I'm gonna put myself on mute because I just listen to podcasts. If you guys want to talk about podcasts later, I'm in. But Drake, I just thought he was like a Raptors fan, and that's about it.
Okay, yeah, sure. We can definitely dive into podcasts in a bit. So my opinion of Drake is that he's terrible. Like I don't understand the fascination of the young crowd nowadays. Like what Drake is coming out with, or with what other rappers are coming out with today, it's like not even music to me. Like they're not even saying words, they're just making noises, and then the actual music behind it, there's no rhythm or beat, it's just noise. And so I don't know if it's because it's a sign that I'm getting older and I can't follow with the music today. But I will say I do like, or I did like, young Drake when he first came out, like in the late 2000s, early 2010s. He just haven't been the same.
Yeah, I like one of his songs that from that Sprite commercial, last name greatest, first name, or wait, last name ever, first name greatest.
Yeah.
That's the only song of his I actually enjoy. I think a lot of it comes down to street credibility, right? Like the difference between rappers nowadays, like Drake, and the rappers we grew up with back in the day, is just it's kind of night and day. When you compare the two, you can't help but see Drake and that generation as just really soft, right?
Very soft.
Yeah. So, but back in the day, I'll say kind of along the same lines of Backstreet Boys with that Black and Blue album. The hip hop or rap album I listened to all day was Jay-Z's Volume 2, Hard Knock Life. And that was all I listened to for the longest time. And so for me, Jay-Z that's why I put him all the way up there. Part of it's that nostalgia, but he's just the greatest in my mind.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would agree with you, even like from gangster hip hop rap fans to today's rap fans. I think that the longevity that Jay-Z was able to pull off from the 90s all the way to today it's unprecedented, and so people view him as the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Have you guys watched him in concert?
No, that's one thing. That's on my list. So I'm getting through my bucket list. I had Chris Rock on there, and he's coming to Sugarland. Me and Albert are gonna see him next in May in a month. But Jay-Z is definitely on my list.
Albie, did you?
No, I haven't. I have not seen Jay.
Wow,
wait.
I am the
No,
biggest fan out of all of you.
Let me take that back. Let me take that back. So I went to the Watch the Throne tour, and that was Kanye and Jay-Z. So they had half. Yeah, so they have half the show with their songs together, and then like the other half was their individual songs. So I guess I've been to a Jay-Z show.
Okay, so yeah, I guess I'm tied because I went to Jay-Z and Beyonce like 3 years ago.
Nice.
You love music. Why are you?
I love music. I love music. I should have been in this the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people who know me know that I'm a huge like Kanye fanatic. I follow everything he does, from music to fashion. If you were to ask me if I've been to a Kanye show, I've seen him 6 times. So it's like, yeah, it's
Jeez.
It's gotten to be like obsession at this point. But thanks, Benny, for the question. We just wanted to touch base on Drake. I also want to point out that Kendrick Lamar came out with a new album this week called Damn. And I just listened to it last night, and it's actually really, really good. and it might, instill some confidence in rap music today again for me. So props to Kendrick.
Yeah, Kendrick and Chance the Rapper are the only ones I feel like have a chance right now.
Yeah, true that. All right, so from music, and Timmy mentioned earlier that he doesn't listen to music anymore. He only listens to podcasts. We had a question here from Roger Lynn. He asked, what are the top 5 podcasts to listen to? And because, Timmy, you're the expert in that, what are your top 5?
I have to be honest. I mean, even though I do listen to podcasts, I don't listen to that many. But I do know the number one is obviously Six Pennies. That's just unquestioned, right?
Not even close.
I really
good advertising right here.
I really just listen. Majority of my listening is to NBA pods or sports pods. Actually, just NBA. The number one is probably the Low Post, so Zach Lowe from ESPN.
Get low.
Yeah, I know you guys hate everything Bill Simmons, but I still like his podcast. That's probably one of the other ones I enjoy. The True Hoop pod for ESPN has a few good ones. They have way too many out there with different hosts and different people on them. I know you guys love when Brian Windhurst comes on, but they have a few good ones when it's Haberstra or when it's Kevin Arnovitz, or they have like a fresh off the bench Asian pod, which is pretty cool.
Wait, really?
Yeah, man, it's like 3 Asian people, 3 Asian ESPN personalities who talk.
Man, that could have been us, man.
It should have been us.
That still can be us.
Fresh.
Beyond, I guess, NBA, I do enjoy. I mean, I enjoyed Serial when it came out. I like the Startup podcast when it originally came out from Gimlet Media. I don't know. I've kind of named a lot, right? Planet Money is always good. How I Built This.
Yeah, How I Built That. Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh, you guys like How I Built This? Yeah. I've listened to like maybe half of them. That's an NPR podcast about different companies and how they came up. The host is the guy who does TED Talks. What's that guy's name?
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
Ted?
No, his name is not Ted. But his voice is a little odd. It's a little annoying to me. So that's probably the only downfall of that one.
Yeah, I listened to How I Built This as well. That's probably the only one I really follow religiously. I'll listen to Low Post and Woj's podcast now and then, but it really depends on the guest or the topic. So it's maybe once a month or so for those. Like right now I have Low Post on right here. It's paused right now, but since he had my man JVG on there.
Yeah, that's a solid one. He has David Thorpe on as well, I think, like for his next one. It was Guy Raz is the How I Built This guy. He's got just kind of a weird whiny voice. You like Woj on his pod? I feel like Woj is made for Woj bombs only and not for like TV or voice or anything else.
Yeah. Again, it's all about subject matter or guest. So I won't just listen to him just because.
Oh, also JJ Redick's podcast. I had mentioned that I think on a previous one of ours. He's pretty good. He stopped during the season, but I'm sure he's going to start up again once the Clippers lose.
It's not bad, but he's a Clipper, and from Duke. It's kind of a double whammy right there.
Yeah, it's surprising that I like his pod. I think he's just he's a smart guy and he's a pretty good speaker and host.
Yeah, so for me, I've listened to all those podcasts. I used to also really like Jalen and Jacoby.
Got to give the people.
Yeah,
rest in peace.
I just don't.
Wait, they're not around anymore?
They're just not good anymore.
Yeah, I feel I feel like their podcasts are just not good anymore. I will say though, I was really into podcasts when I was in law school. So I started listening to podcasts back in like 2009, 2010, when podcasts were just getting popular. And my favorite podcast at that time was actually the Joe Rogan Experience.
Wow, yeah. Early adopter.
Yeah. So I listened to Joe Rogan for like a good 2 years. Then I took like a 4-year hiatus and I started listening to him again. He's still as funny as ever. I will say if it's only good listening when you're like at work or something, because his podcast lasts like 3 to 4 hours. It's just him.
Yeah, I don't see how people do that. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, he's usually high while he's recording, and he usually has like a really really smart guest on that he instigates to get high with him, and so they have like amazing conversations, and they talk about like the end of the world and all that kind of stuff. So Joe Rogan for me is up there. Timmy, you mentioned Serial. I know there's another like murder mystery podcast right now, very popular. It's actually made by This American Life and NPR, and it's called S Town, and it's very good, very similar to Serial. I actually would rate it a little higher than Serial, and
wow.
So
you listened to it? I haven't gotten to it yet. I haven't downloaded it, but just haven't listened.
Better than Serial?
Yeah, I highly recommend S Town for sure.
Okay, I'll add that to the list.
All right, so that's all we have for today. Thank you, Stephanie, for the BSB question, Benny for the Drake question, and then Roger Lynn for our top 5 podcasts. Please like us on Facebook at Six Pennies Podcast and subscribe to us on YouTube. Thank you.